Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a video on the Astro A50 Gen 4. Now, this is actually a review, essentially, of the headset after a year and a half of use. And I'm going to talk to you about why I still like this headset and why I'd still recommend it. And that actually comes with a caveat, because my Astro A50 recently broke. It stopped working, and it's been a real frustration for me because I absolutely love this headset. It is a marvelous device. It's comfortable, convenient, and it has great sound too. And I'm going to talk to you about why I considered dropping £280, nearly $300, on purchasing a new one. And I was ready to ruin my credit card when Astro was kind enough to send me a replacement. But I'm still going to recommend that you purchase it. And this isn't sponsored by Astro in any way, so don't get that idea in your head, because I was fully ready to buy another one of these headphones. And I want to talk to you about why that's the case, and why, despite the fact that the Astro A50 isn't necessarily the very best headset that money can buy, that I would still recommend it, and it's still my personal favourite. Now, the Astro A50 is a wonderful balance of a number of really nice things that make it worthwhile. It's lightweight, it's comfortable, it has great sound, and it has a number of really nice features to it as well that I'm going to go through as I go through this video. But what I want to talk about is the other things that it doesn't do, as well as to show you the problems that I've got with it now. It's a year and a half old, despite it being broke. And so the shots that you're seeing now are of the new one, but later on in the video I'm going to show you the old one and the new one side by side so you can see the difference. But the Astro A50 is an interesting headset because, as I said, it's not the very best that money can buy. It doesn't have the best audio. It doesn't have the highest res audio that you can get. It doesn't have 96 kilohertz or higher 24-bit sample rate audio. It doesn't have the deepest ear cups. It doesn't have the most connection options. It isn't perhaps the sexiest looking headset around. There's no RGB lighting on it. Some of the design aesthetics of it are a little bit flimsy. However, it is, as I said, the most comfortable headset. It is the most comfortable headset that I've used. It's also the most convenient. The wireless dock system that I'll show you a bit later on makes it really simple to use. It also has some very nice features, such as these game and voice balance buttons on the ear cup, which allow you to quickly and easily dial in more volume towards voice or game, depending on whether you want to hear less or more of your friends. It also has decent sound, with a Dolby surround sound button on the ear cup and adjustable EQ settings. Now, I've heard a number of complaints from console gamers that think this headset's too quiet and doesn't deliver good audio, but on PC I've had no problems at all with it. It's been fantastic. It's delivered good positional audio and a really rich sound for gaming, music, movies and all sorts. It's also really easy to wear. The battery lasts all day long, and I have been using this headset for almost a year and a half, while obviously going through reviews of other headsets, but this is my daily driver, where I've been wearing the headset day in and day out, all day long while working and listening to music and being on Zoom calls and whatever else, and then into evening video editing or gaming. And so it has had a hell of a lot of use in the time I've had it, more than most people would use it. If you go to work during the day and then you come home and game a bit, you're not going to have used it anywhere near as much as me. And I've got a number of other headsets to compare it with, some of which are a hell of a lot more premium. The Audeze Mobius, for example, and the Audeze Penrose, as well as the HyperX Cloud Orbit S, all have larger ear cups and a more premium finish and a more robust headband design. And they also deliver high-res audio that the Astro A50 does not. But the Astro A50 still remains my personal preference, and that's because of these really soft, ridiculously soft ear cups. They feel like little puffs of heaven on your ears and on your head. And I really love going back to this headset. Every time I finish reviewing another one, I pick this up and I put it back on. And this is also the headset that I think about when I'm wearing other ones that aren't as comfortable, and I think, God, I can't wait to get back to that headset. It sounds ridiculous, but it is actually the truth. And this is how I feel. This is the best headset for me. And the other reason for that is the connectivity and the convenience. So this charging base station that it has in there is a wireless dock system. When you're not using it, you drop the headset into the dock, And that dock then allows you to charge the headset when not in use. It allows for the wireless connection, but it also means that you can just plop your headset in there and charge it up when you're not using it, which is really, really convenient and simple as well. There's a little magnet system in there with a couple of pins, and they basically connect and allow for easy convection. What this means is that you don't have to ever plug this headset in. I've very, very rarely ever actually had to plug the micro USB cable into the headset directly in order to get charged or to carry on playing. This is a real rarity with any wireless headset. Usually you end up plugging them in, and it's a pain to have a plug in a wireless headset. That's not what you want at the end of the day. You've got a wireless headset, you want to be wireless. And so the ability to be able to pick the headset up and just play with it and trust that it'll have the power that you need to play is really great. I really like it. Now, there are some negatives to it. For example, I don't like that flip to mute microphone. The capture quality on it is good, and if you refer to my original A50 review, you'll hear that mic in action, and it's a decent microphone enough, but you can't take it off. And I use a dedicated microphone all the time, so I really don't need it. It just gets in the way. There are other things as well. For example, the SteelSeries Arctis Pro Wireless that you can see here is actually superior to the A50 in a number of ways. For example, you can customize the look and feel of it with these removable speaker plates, and you can also swap out the batteries on it. So the SteelSeries headset has two batteries. It has a battery inside the ear cup that is in there and it is ready for action, and it also has the ability to remove it. It has another battery in the base station which is constantly on charge, and so when the headset runs out of battery you just need to swap the batteries round. Now, this does lead to a disconnect while you're doing that, which you wouldn't get with the A50, but it does mean that again you never need to plug the SteelSeries headset in, and so that is super convenient. And you can see already that this has a couple of other things to it. The SteelSeries Arctis Pro Wireless also wins because it has that Bluetooth connectivity. So as well as having a wireless connection option, it also has Bluetooth, and it has dual connectivity, which means that you can connect your phone and your PC or whatever else you're using at the same time. So here I am with my phone connected to the headset. I can now listen to music via Spotify, and I can receive and place phone calls. I can also listen to audio through my PC and be streaming or playing games with my friends and have all that thing going on. And that in that dock you can also plug in optical cables and 3.5mm jacks as well. But going back to the A50, which sadly doesn't have Bluetooth, I'm really hoping in the Gen 5 version they include it. It does have optical in and out. You also have the ability to go between PC and Xbox or PC and PlayStation, depending on what model you're on, and it has a 3.5mm jack. Now, the 3.5mm jack is useful for me because that means you can put in another audio source. So I plug in that cable, and now I can hear myself, and I can do some mic monitoring through my standard Shure SM7B microphone. So I plug that 3.5mm cable into my GoXLR, and then I can mic monitor, so I can hear my own voice through the microphone, and I can check to make sure that the audio that I'm getting is accurate. And you can do this with any microphone. So any microphone has a 3.5mm connection you could plug into the base station, which is glorious because it means that you can plug a 3.5mm connection into the base station, get the audio into your ears through the A50, which is a rare thing. Now, the SteelSeries Arctis Pro Wireless does this as well, but there are very few headsets in my experience that are wireless but allow you to plug in a 3.5mm connection for mic monitoring or for connecting another device, because you could run something else in there. You could run your phone in there, for example, and listen to your phone through that. I don't have a 3.5mm connection on my phone, but it is an option. Now, the problem I have is battery. My A50 has sadly stopped working, and I believe it's down to the battery. If you dock the A50 as I have it now, when I put it in there, the charging lights, they just flash constantly. And when I disconnect it from the base station, it just loses pairing. You can see that it has a light on it lit up there, but when I take it off, it doesn't do anything. There are various fixes that you can try if you have this problem. You can press and hold the Dolby button and the game balance button at the same time for 30 seconds, and that will hard reset. You can also do other things, like you can plug it in with a micro USB cable and charge it up that way. You can update the firmware, and it is theoretically possible to take this headset apart, remove the battery and resolder a new one, which obviously is a big pain in the bum that nobody wants to have to do. Unfortunately, it is not as easy to swap the batteries on this as it is, say, the Arctis Pro Wireless, which is obviously ridiculously easily because they're swappable anyway. It's designed to be swappable. And so you can see there's a real flaw in the A50, which over a long period of time, under heavy use, it's eventually just going to stop working, which is a real shame because this is an expensive headset, and as I've said, it is one of the best headsets I've tried. It isn't the very best, as I've already mentioned, but it is the best for me. I find it really comfortable to wear, and comfort is incredibly important to me. I'm of the belief that comfort is one of the most important things. Obviously, sound is very important, mic quality is very important, but comfort is also very important. Now this has a micro USB connection on the bottom that you can try plugging in and you can try charging it that way, but believe me, I've tried all sorts of ways. I've tried multiple USB ports, I've tried plugging it into the mains, I've tried docking it for hours on end through different PCs, but there's no fix for it. Luckily Astro was kind enough to send me a new one, but I would have totally bought another one anyway because perhaps I'm a mug, but this is a great headset that I couldn't do without. I have been using the Arctis Pro Wireless in the meantime, but it's not as comfortable. I find that it's just not as comfortable. It is more capable in some ways. For example, that Bluetooth dual connectivity is sorely lacking on the A50, and I absolutely miss that when I'm not using it, but that is one minor point. Now I'm going to show you what happens to your headset after a year and a half of use. So you can see the Astro A50, the brand new one on top, and then the bottom one is my worn and tatty one. Note a quick difference is that the headband I am using is from the mod kit, so that's why you can see a difference between those two. So the middle bit that has the Astro logo on it is actually from the mod kit, which there is a reason why I'm doing that, and I'll go into that in a minute. But what you'll notice immediately is there is a marring on the top of the headset. One thing I want to quickly note though is that I had a question previously about whether my headset was wonky, and I can show you that it isn't. It is straight still, so I don't have any problems with it being twisted and sort of awkwardly shaped, and that is something that apparently some people have had issues with. However, the headset is flimsy, so I could see easily why it would become a problem over time. And as you can see, the design aesthetic of it isn't fantastic because over time this has been worn out as well. Now I should note that on a Friday and Saturday I put on a prawn suit and I play games, so I'm wearing something over the top of this headset that might have worn it down a bit, but you can see on the underside that has also worn off there. It's just a little bit of plastic covering which has basically come off. It's not the end of the world. Now the clip that holds the headband in place, the original one sort of came a bit loose and it kept popping out, which is a problem. Now I had the mod kit luckily, so I just installed the mod kit one on there and it's not been an issue since. But again, this is slightly flimsy, and I think it's a shame because the overall frame of the A50 is flimsy when compared to other headsets that I've tried. Like I said, the Audeze Mobius and the HyperX Cloud Orbit S both have sort of more solidly built headbands, and this one is a bit flimsy by comparison, but it is lightweight, so you sort of have that compromise. Now the ear cups still remain my favorite. As you can see, after a long amount of use, they've picked up a lot of random little hairs. I've got a dog and a cat in my house, but there's also probably little hairs from my head and that have just got caught on there, and my beard that are just stuck on there, but you can just brush them off and they're still just as comfortable to this day. They haven't worn down, and the ear cups are the most important thing. I tried the mod kit ear cups, but I really didn't like them by comparison to the original one. And the other thing is, if you put them side by side, you can't actually tell that much difference between them. Considering that I've been mostly using these daily, apart from when I'm reviewing other headsets, they still stand up to the test of time. Yes, that headband's worn out, but the ear cups are still in great condition. The headband will still extend in the same way, and I'll show you the difference between that as I open and close these and extend the length of it and twist it in and out, and you'll see there's not much in it. The old headset's still just as flexible, and that is part of the appeal. Now, it is flimsy, as I said, and if you're heavy-handed and rough with it and you're chucking it around or slamming it into the dock, then you might find over time it gets a bit problematic. I haven't had an issue with mine. The mic was still working when I was using it, and the headband would still extending nicely, and it was still going into the dock, and it was still charging. But I just think the batteries died after all this use, and that's the main problem. And that is quite a significant problem, I'll be honest, because obviously you can't replace it. But I still love this headset too much to not carry on using it. It's just too convenient and an all-round really good package. Now, it is very expensive, so if I'd paid that full amount of money and then had to pay it again, because obviously it's out of warranty period, being 1.5 years, it goes past the standard year warranty that you'd get, then I'd be really annoyed, but I still would have done it because it is epic. However, if you are the sort of person that really can't stand things like this wear and tear, which I could perfectly understand, and I wouldn't blame you for not wanting to purchase another one. And it is a real shame that a headset like this doesn't have a better headband. Hopefully Astro and Logitech will take this on board. Not necessarily just my words, but everyone else's feedback that I've had over the last couple of years. What I'd really like to see is a more solid headband design from Astro in the future for the Gen 5, and also the inclusion of Bluetooth connectivity would be incredible. Slightly deeper ear cups wouldn't go amiss as well. Not that these are uncomfortable, they are magnificently comfortable ear cups, but they could do with being just a little bit deeper. Removable batteries that you can actually replace yourself would obviously be the biggest selling point. But at the end of the day, the Astro A50 Gen 4 is still my favourite headset, and I'm going to do a video in the very near future talking about my favourite devices and why they're my favourites, and the A50 will definitely be appearing in that video, and I'll give you some options as to the other ones that I would highly recommend that are more affordable. Hopefully you found this video useful or interesting if you're considering the A50, or if you've had issues with your own and want to know more. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. Be sure to check out my comparison to other headsets and what the A50 is like. And thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you found it useful, interesting, hilarious, or all of the above. Be sure to check out the description for other information you might find interesting, and subscribe and watch these other videos as well that I think might be useful to you, and have a great life.